All right, guys. This is my follow-up video on how to create some of your armies. Excuse me, I have a little allergies and little sinuses going on. As you can kind of see at the bottom, some of the latest figures, and I've already created my paladin prince working in my army. So for you, you can go and create your own stuff from scratch, but what I would highly suggest you do is to go find existing work that other people have done, stuff like this, and work on maybe tweaking that one. So I have two that I've worked on: my Woodland Scout and my Paladin Prince. So let's just go into edit armies. Now, this work is primarily done with a pro account. As I've said before, I can give some people access to a free pro account for a limited time. So by doing that, just message me and give me your username in Universal Battle, and I can get you with a pro account. But with a pro account, what you can do is you start out. So a basic account is only going to give you the basic stuff. You can only use this stuff. You do need a pro account to be able to make Mage Knight, because you have to make them unique here. So in my pro account, I have some existing armies. What I've done is I have my Kings of War army here, but I've also just created some Mage Knight. I've labeled them MK dash, and I've labeled them different ways. These armies can actually be searched. Like if I go here and I type in this search, you can search for anything. But if you want to like use some of my stuff, you could just search for MK dash, and it would pull up all my armies, right? Or if you search for, say, Knights Immortal, that's the army I'm working on right now. That should pull up the Knights Immortal army here. So, in other words, anyone can find my models and anyone can modify them here. So, what you can do is, as you are searching through this model, you can click a favorite button here, a bookmark button, and this will save these in your bookmark. So, even though this is my own army, I'm going to click bookmark. And if I go back to my bookmarks, I'll actually see my own army that I bookmarked. Now, I don't need to bookmark this because it's not necessary. I already just have it in my lists, but I can if I wanted to. So I'm going to unbookmark my own armies. What I did do is I did some searching for my Knights Immortal. I searched for some elf armies, and I'll go here. And I found this one, which was really nice here. So this army is what I'm basing a lot of my Knights Immortal units off of. I like the armored look that they have. So I'm kind of using and tweaking some of these existing models to work. Got some cavalry. We've got some archers. You can actually find anything here by typing in like elf. So, and here there's tons of elves that you can go in. There's Sylvan elves. There's some dread elves. So this is some other elves that you can use. You can basically go in whatever armor you're looking at that you want to create. You can look for, if you want to make an Orc Raiders armor, you could search for Orc. And you could find, well, here's my orcs, as well as all other types of orcs. I haven't started working my Orc Raiders, but I've already started to gather some models that I think are going to make good Orc Raiders. But for now, I'm going to show you how to build my Knights Immortal army here. So in my bookmarked armies, I've got two that I want to use. One is this one, and the other one is this one. I think this one as well has some good models in it that I can kind of grab and use it to tweak. And so to do that, I just go into my own armies, and I create a new army here. So you could create, you could call this like MK, Knights Immortal. And then once you create this army, you can start importing models into it. I don't need to do this because I already have this army, but I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to delete this one because this one isn't necessary here. And so here, this is the Knights Immortal army that I'm working on. And when we go into here, we see there's some figures that I've pulled in, as well as some figures that are finished here. One of the things that I like to do is I like to have the same base for all my figures. So I go ahead and just create a basic base and I give it its own feel. So here, this is a base that has basically, I've changed the color on it to match. I've added like a little patch here. You can do that by going into scenery. And you can look up just basically patch here. And I think I switched it over to the, what is it? The color 3. There we are. And then I just changed some of the, so here, this is the patch I used. And then I just changed some of the hue saturation on it here. And I've moved this up. What else did I do? And I reduced the saturation on this one. So even if something is one color, you can also change around the colors on each one of these tiles. So now this is what's matching here. So that's one thing you can do is every one of these items that you add in, you can change the hue saturation as well as the base color. And it's going to just give it different colors. So the program gives you a lot of leeway about what you can do. Now, I don't need that anymore. And this is my base. So when I want to start a new model, I would just clone this. So I would clone to the army, and I'm going to clone it to my Knights Immortal here. And what I'm going to work on now is I'm going to work on my Elf at Arms. So Elf at Arms. And then just save it here. Now, I've already imported this model in, but what if I wanted... This is the model that I want to use. I found it in... sorry. I found it in my sorry, that was my wife just coming to check on things. I found this army in the high elf work, and it's this model here that I found. So I could click on this model and I can go clone to army. So this is from someone else's army, and I can clone this into my Knights Immortal army here. So it tells me that it's been cloned. When I go to my army, I should actually see a second one now. Right there. So I have one here. I've already created one. I don't need this one anymore, so I'm just going to delete it here. Now, I want my figures to have kind of this really lightly armored set to them. This is my Paladin Prince, so I've added some green, more to represent healing. I've created a Noble Archer here, which is just having a bow and then very lightly armored. And then I've also created a Woodland Scout that is, more trying to wear stuff that's based on kind of hiding and has a spear here. So for this Elf at Arms here, one thing I'm going to do is I'll go here and I want to get the model here. So I'm just going to grab this model. I think I can just delete the base. Delete this stuff. Okay, so there. I'm just going to go and copy all this model. You can do the copy button. So we're just going to copy that, exit, and we're going to go into the base and we're going to paste it here. So just paste it there. And now I have my Elf at Arm model. I'm just going to move this to the side so I'm not disturbing my base and I can get it back. So we know that the Elf at Arms, we can start changing. One thing, the Elf at Arms, it doesn't need a bow and arrow. So I'm just going to delete that. We've got this little plumage, which is interesting to keep. And we've got a shield that doesn't have a shield in it. And we've got a spear. So we can get rid of that spear. There we are. The Elf at Arms is tended to be a little more lightly armored. So I'm actually going to switch some of the armor on this. What's this here? That's fine to keep. I do want to switch the armor to something more lightly armored. What do we have here? Let's see what we have. I'm kind of doing this on the fly, but that's all it's about. It's just kind of playing around with. Well, this is actually a pretty good armor set for it. I don't know that I would care. This is probably okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine to keep. I may just cover that area here. So this is probably fine. I just want the colors to match my current scheme. So I need it to be a little lighter. So we can just go here and make it a little lighter. We can make this a little lighter and reduce some of the saturation on it. And then the helmet. So now we're just trying to match some of the color scheme of my army. We just want to make his armor a little lighter so that it matches some of my other models. So here so we'll make this a little lighter too. There we go. And then we've got this black shade here. I may just want to make this a little more lighter. Quite so dark like that. And then we've also got this. Maybe I'll change the hue and saturation on this. See what I can get. Maybe I'll get like a light blue. Light blue may be more of what I'm feeling. Do the same to this one. We can go towards the blue side, I think. Let's see here. So that's the blue. Saturation doesn't need to be. It can be a little lighter. Let's see here. So now I'm just kind of playing around with the colors to get this to where I want it to be. Here. Here. There. So now I have this one, and I'm just going to copy a similar. So this one has this here. So I'm just going to grab the other pieces and try and match that. Has this color on it. And then, so this one, let's try and, I'm just going to try to use the color to get it as close as possible. Looks like it needs to be a little lighter. Maybe not so much saturated. There we are. I think that's getting close to what I need. Maybe we just reduce the saturation on this. So I think that's pretty good. We've got some shoes that are probably fine. I think he's fine. He looks like a good elf in arms that he just has some I think he's good. This looks like a good elf in arms. I just need to add some weapons to him. I'm just going to add some maces. I think there's a mace in here that I can use. Or is it a club? Let's grab a club. And let's try and find a club that's going to match him. So, there we go. That's a good one. Right here. Look at this one. This is nice. So, we're just going to place that there. Maybe turn it slightly. Move it below. And we're going to duplicate this and also mirror it. So that's in his other hand. We'll put this here. Yeah. Something like that. I thought this other one, isn't the Elf at Arms figure actually have one of them, which I don't know if it makes any sense, but I think he has one of them where he's like doing this. Which I don't think that makes sense. I've never understood why you'd want to hold the mace. Not that way. So I'm not going to do that. I think that's a little silly. See if there's another mace that I could find that maybe matches it a little better. Got some good maces in here. At that one. That one's actually kind of nice. I think I like that one a little better. You can find the 13 on that one. Maybe they're a little big. Let me look around. It's good to shop around and see here. I think these are fine. I'm just gonna make them a little smaller. Maybe a little fatter. There we go. I think that's getting kind of close what I want. Make it a little bigger. And we're going to duplicate this one. We'll mirror it. And then we're just going to rotate it over. And we'll move this down. There we are. That one, and then we can move this down. So here we've got kind of this elf at arm that's got his double mace set up like the figure does. He's kind of lightly armored. He matches the theme, but he's also not like one of these super armored nasty guys. He's more of a common guy. So here we have made a pretty good elf at arm. I think here. Now we're just going to move it to the center here. And we have completed an elf at arm. We're just going to save it now. And here we've not spent a whole lot of time, and we've created an elf at arm. So that should give you a basic idea. You can, even I'm kind of going a little more in depth, trying to like add different things to my, you don't even have to go that crazy. They actually have, if you go look at the stock figures, they've got a lot of like a stock human here that you can use. They've got a stock elf you can use that has its own armor. So you don't even need to build stuff more manually. You can actually just go in here and create your own elf. So in other words, they have some pre-built stuff that you can just kind of add on top of. So that's perfectly fine. You don't have to go fancy with this sorts of stuff. Like this is a pretty viable. Let me find the pants here. Like this is a pretty viable elf. Just maybe changing the hair. Look at that. We added a little cloak on here. So again, you don't have to go crazy trying to go. You can use the dwarf, elf, and human skeletons and orcs, and you can really go a long way just using some of the basic models. Or you can kind of do what I do, which is grabbing some more advanced stuff and then tweaking it. Like I grabbed this model here. I want to turn this into one of my my other big heroes. So I hope that gives you a little idea about how to create some models using universal battles here. The next thing I want to talk about is building cliques. So what I did is I went ahead and pre-built. You can actually find cliques here. If you want to just use some of my cliques that I've started, you can just search for cliques. And it's going to pull up my Necropolis and my Elemental League that I've worked on so far. The first time I did this, I started to actually name them by the model and walk straight through to 7. But I also started to realize that there's a lot of cliques that just are very similar. Like we've got a lot of these figures have the same demoralized stats. So what I think you can do is you can actually just create some of the models that have their unique stats and then just pull in the other stats here. So for instance, I've got on my Knights Immortal, if I wanted to work on, let's say I think I'm working on an elf at arms. So we'll create some of the elf at arms here. So I'll just go and I'll create this elf at arms here. He's got a 10 and an 8 speed and a 14 defense, 3 damage here. So there's no special abilities. Actually, let's create one of my Deepwood Sentinels that I'll be using that has a stealth and a pole arm. So what you can do is, if I wanted to say create, I would go here and I could type in, I would create a new army just for the cliques, just to keep them separate. And I could call it MK Knights Immortal Cliques. So here I've created this new army. And in here, I'm going to go into the Elemental League, and I'm just going to grab a couple of these cliques like this one. I'm going to clone it to my Knights Immortal army that I've just created. So that's here. I'm just going to clone that in. I'm also going to clone some of the common clicks. Like I know this demoralize click is going to be used a lot. So I'll just clone this to the army. Like this stat block is going to be used a lot. So I'll just clone that. I know there's several others. Like this is another generally a very common one that's used. I'm just going to clone that one to the army. Clone that to my Knights Immortal. Yeah. And then I'll clone like a mid one, maybe something like this. Healing Mid, maybe Priestess. I'll clone something like this one, which is like a midway point. So you've got it like, all right. So here, so I've cloned some of these stat blocks already. I'm going to go into my Knights Immortal clicks and let's work on this. I'm going to build off the clicks for this Deepwood Sentinel. So in here, I'll start with this one. I'm just going to clone it. We're going to clone it again. And we're going to call this, right, Deepwood Sentinel. So let's open this one and we'll call it Deepwood Sentinel Yellow 0. So this is a started click. We know it's got an 8 move. It's got a 7 attack. So just do that real fast. And so you get the ideas that here you can also change the colors. And all of this is to basically allow you to create the clicks you need to. I could go into this further, but basically you would just build your stat blocks and then import them on a battle. Let me know if this helps. I can make further videos, but I think this should get most people the way there to start building their figures and building their stat blocks. So thanks a lot, everyone. And let me know if you need any additional help. I can make some additional videos. This should get you there. So thank you so much.